Hello, good afternoon. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Welcome to the fourth and final session of our second virtual National Microinsurance Forum with the theme Facing Uncertainty Through Strategic Innovations. This event is being organized by MIMAP, also known as Remansi, and sponsored by 1CISP, BPI-AMTC, Card MBA, CPMI, Globe Business, NAT3, PhilCare, RMSI, and the Microinsurance MBA. So maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta sa ating association. And of course, salamat din po sa ating almost 400 po no na mga players and supporters ng microinsurance na kasama pa rin natin ngayon sa ating Zoom and of course following pa rin us sa ating Facebook Live. So muli ako po si Alali Mojica ng MIMAP, ang inyong facilitator for this afternoon. So for some technical reminders lang po ulit para sa ating session, ang mic po ng ating mga participants will be put on mute. So if you wish to speak or if you want to raise question, you can send it po sa ating Zoom chat box or you can raise your hand. Please also use the reaction button to respond to our resource persons and facilitators. Please also maintain your camera on po no, as much as possible for better interaction. Our session is also recorded for future reference and playback, and we will upload this sa ating YouTube channel and nasa Facebook. So you may want to like our Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And para naman po sa mga related social media posts, you may use the hashtag NMIForum2022. So, ayun po. So, moving forward, so para lang makita ano yung mga sessions pa natin ngayong hapon. So, we will have two parts for this session, both of which aims to provide us mga insights how to improve employment environment to attract and retain talents given our uncertain situation. So, kaninang umaga, yung focus ng ating discussion is yung support sa ating MSME. So, this afternoon, ang atin naman pong focus ng discussion is supporting our employees, our workforce. So, are we ready po? Can I get a reaction, thumbs up, heart, or any reaction po na pwede ninyong ibigay sa amin? Ayan, marami pong salamat. So, to start off, we are honored to be joined once again by the Department of Health to brief us on the COVID situation in the country and the return to office strategies and measures that should be put in place to ensure a safe and secured employment environment. To introduce our keynote speaker, she is a graduate of zoology from the University of Santo Tomas. She obtained her MD from De La Salle University College of Medicine and her MPH from the University of the Philippines, Manila. Currently, she is the Undersecretary for the Public Health Services team and the official spokesperson of the Department of Health. Let us all welcome and give a virtual clap to Dr. Maria Rosario Vergeire.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to be your guest speaker to discuss how we sustain the gains against COVID-19 and make employment environments safe and secured for everyone. I would like to recognize the efforts of Microinsurance MBA Association of the Philippines for organizing this session that would hopefully shed light on ensuring everybody's safety as we slowly reopen our economy. Let me begin presenting our national situationer. On January 23, 39,828 new cases were recorded, bringing the total reported confirmed cases to 3,417,216, of which 8.01% are active cases, 90.43% are recoveries, and 1.56% are deaths. Looking closely at our active cases, 271,776 are either asymptomatic, mild, or moderate, while severe and critical cases have gone down to 1,804 cases. The top 5 regions contributing to the new cases are NCR, regions 4A, 3, 6, and 11. And the top 5 areas contributing to the new cases are Davao City, Laguna, Cavite, Quezon City, and Baguio City. Our epidemic curve shows that partial data on illness onset show a peak on the week of January 6 to 13. The national average daily cases is slightly lower than cases in the previous week, with 3,930 less cases this week, and now at 30,373 cases per day, still exceeding our previous peak in September 6 to 12 of 2021. The case increase were mostly contributed by the National Capital Region cases, which are the blue bars. In the past weeks, we see that the current picture of our epidemic curve is indicative of the transmission pattern of the Omicron variant. But we have to take note that our genome sequencing still shows that the Delta variant is still circulating. Between the onsets of the Delta and the holiday increase in cases, the NCR had a larger increase in vaccination rates compared to other parts of the country. For our updates on the vaccination of COVID-19, as of January 22, we have already inoculated a total of 59.7 million Filipinos for their first dose, and 57.1 million have completed their primary series of the vaccine, and 6.1 million individuals have already received their booster doses. Given all of these considerations, the DOH, with our experts for COVID-19 response, has proposed specific actions for the current context with the Omicron variant. The response still follows the PDITR Plus framework, where we focus on the prevention with the mask, UGAS, IWAS, airflow strategy, making treatment available, and accelerating the vaccination program, especially for the vulnerable. Now let us start to talk about what it means to adapt to the new normal. Our strategies on reintegration do not solely involve the efforts made to reintroduce an individual into a society, but this also focuses on allowing the whole population to adapt to the new normal. Key considerations for the gradual easing of the lockdown restrictions introduced by many countries in response to the spread of COVID-19 across the globe varied. As the transition out of lockdown remains to be a complex and uncertain phase, it is then vital that we clearly communicate this to the public to build trust and to ensure that people observe restrictions specific to their situation. The approval of decisions to open sectors and specific institutions shall be based on the following components: gradual and strategic opening of activities wherein the benefits of opening outweighs the corresponding risk. Evidence that COVID-19 transmission is controlled based on the community risk classification level of the specific area. Minimum public health standards and capacities are in place to prevent, detect, isolate, test, treat, and reintegrate cases and close contacts. Outbreak risks are minimized in high transmission and vulnerable settings, particularly in homes for older people, mental health facilities, crowded places of residence, or based on the nature of work. And stakeholders involved are consulted, aware, engaged, and participating in the preparation for the gradual reopening transition. As we continue to ramp up our efforts in adapting to the new normal, the safe reopening of the Philippine economy will be vital in addressing the enormous revenue loss brought about by the pandemic. This encompasses promoting economic activity while mitigating the risk of disease transmission. There must be emphasis on the adherence to the minimum public health standards to prevent COVID-19 resurgence following unrestricted reopening of the different sectors of the economy. In our plans of reopening the economy, key considerations such as socio-behavioral development and the risk of COVID-19 transmission are being evaluated to ensure that the benefits outweigh the risk. As the number of individuals getting fully vaccinated increases steadily, easing of public health standards for fully vaccinated individuals are also being discussed with our experts while ensuring that the population is protected from any emerging risk. Likewise, once the country achieves the number of individuals needed for population protection, a phased type of easing for the use of personal protective equipment may be considered. Paving the way towards the safe reopening of institutions, stakeholders are consulted, involved, and engaged in the creation and implementation of these guidelines. At the national level, guiding the implementation of response and capacities, the IATF has issued guidelines on the implementation of alert levels. Guiding our minimum public health standards is the Administrative Order 2021-0043, or the Guidelines on Minimum Public Health Standards for Safe Reopening of Institutions that guide the prevent, detect, isolate, test, treat, and reintegrate strategies across all settings. Different interagency joint memorandum circulars support a phased type of easing restrictions as we safely reopen our economy. As part of the continuing effort of the government to prevent and control the spread of COVID-19 virus at the workplace and cognizant of a large amount of working time indoors and in poorly ventilated spaces, adequate ventilation should be strictly enforced inside the workplace as a preventive measure against the spread of the COVID-19 virus. The guidelines shall cover all commercial and industrial establishments, project sites, and all other places where work is being undertaken indoors. It has been recommended to maximize natural ventilation through the use of doors, windows, and other openings, if possible and safe to do so. Dilution ventilation must be done through the use of exhaust fans while maximizing natural ventilation as previously mentioned. Maintaining an acceptable and safe indoor air quality through quality and quantity assessment must be done regularly. In order to ensure safety of an establishment and to reassure consumers of safety amidst the pandemic, the government started the Safety Seal Certification Program. Being granted a safety seal affirms that an establishment has been found to be compliant with the minimum public health standards set by government, including the adoption or integration of the Stay Safe Philippines application in contact tracing. The Safety Seal Certification Program aims to assure the consumers and the public in general of establishments' compliance with the minimum public health standards set by government and encourage the adoption of Stay Safe Philippines digital contact tracing application to strengthen contact tracing initiatives of the government and effectively contain the spread of COVID-19, and to safely reopen the economy. To provide adequate safeguards in the occasion that cases rise or our health system is overwhelmed, we have implemented the alert level system that allows us to limit factors that may contribute to the situation of the pandemic. The different alert levels are based on the metrics of case increase or decrease alongside the utilization of our healthcare system. These measures help the Department of Health provide appropriate actions to ensure the safety of our stakeholders and the lives of many Filipinos. The national framework for COVID-19 response remains to be the PDITR+, which cuts across all settings, most especially in the workplace and transportation to and from the workplace. This remains critical as asymptomatic workers can carry the virus home, where adherence to minimum public health standards can be understandably more lax. Especially for prevent, we further subdivide these protocols to engineering, administrative, PPE, and public health measures. There are supporting issuances from the Department of Health, the Department of Trade and Industry, the Department of Labor and Employment on this, and we can reiterate this to your networks if necessary. To ensure our safety, we should plan and strategize with our different healthcare systems to minimize the effects of outbreaks. We should always ensure the safety of the population most at risk due to the effects of this pandemic. To provide cumulative protection, we have different layers of intervention. At the individual level, protection is provided through COVID-19 vaccination, which protects against severe disease and death. Appropriate and well-fitted PPE also include added barrier to infection. At the level of the workplace, we recommend appropriate alternative work arrangements, reinforcement of the roles of safety and surveillance officers to ensure the application of our PDITR strategies in our workplaces. In our households, we can also have that layer of protection by ensuring that people we are usually in contact with are vaccinated. Also, ensuring household disinfection and minimum public health standards implementation at home remains to be the important strategies for reducing infection. Finally, at the level of the community, we must ensure that the most vulnerable and exposed are protected because they are the groups that also demand healthcare need to be admitted at our healthcare facilities. This is going to be my last slide. I hope that we all cooperate and strengthen the best practices in the workplace to prevent transmission of COVID-19. I would also like to take this opportunity to enjoin all of you to take part in our COVID-19 vaccine deployment program by sharing the right information. The national government is guided by several panels of experts in the field of infectious diseases, microbiology, vaccinology, epidemiology, bioethics, and social sciences, and we assure everyone that all vaccines that are and will be approved and distributed had undergone stringent regulatory measures to ensure the safety of all Filipinos. Let us increase vaccine confidence in our country by only spreading vetted and evidence-based knowledge. Let us all remember that when we protect the walls of our livelihood, we protect our lives. When we protect our lives through adherence to set health protocols and vaccination, we protect our livelihood. Let's be the solution plus against COVID-19. Thank you for your attention and good afternoon to all of you.
Okay. So we thank Undersecretary Vergeire and the DOH now for their comprehensive updates on the COVID situation or in the country and the guidelines or yung sinasabing layers of protection in the reopening of institutions, particularly yung sa workplace. So yung ilan sa mga kasama doon, yung vaccination, alternative work arrangements, safety and surveillance officers, PDITR strategies. So yung minimum public health standards pa rin. So, ngayon, dadako tayo dun sa pangalawang part ng ating session. Pero before we proceed doon, we have prepared another trivia question for you. So, can we have the question on the screen, please? Okay, ayan. So, related sa employment, unemployment, and insurance. So, what House bill was filed at the House of Representatives last June 2020 with the purpose of institutionalizing a national unemployment insurance program to provide lost income protection for workers involuntarily separated from employment? So meron po tayong 30 segundo para makasagot at sa ngayon ay 6% pa lang ng ating participants ang nakakasagot. So paabutin naman po natin ng mga 50%. So sige po. Marami pa po tayong seconds to answer at may mga nagchat-chat din ng kanilang mga sagot. So halos dikit si 8028 and 9028. So ano kayang House Bill number ito? Sige po. So 5 seconds. Ayan. So 40% pa rin. Sige. Dagdagan pa natin ng konti. Ayan. So paabutin naman natin ng mga 50% yung ating participation. So click nyo lang po yung sa tingin yung best answer. Okay? Ayan. So yan, 50%. Sige, pwede na po natin share yung resulta. So ano pong lumalabas? So 49% nagsagot. House Bill 8028, 37% 9028, at yung may pinakamaunting percent po ng sumagot, 14%, 70-28. So ito po yung ating correct answer. So House Bill number 7028. So yung sinusulong po nito ay yung National Unemployment Insurance Program. So salamat po sa mga nag-participate na ating mga participants. So, ayan. So, nabanggit ko nga kanina na yung next session po natin is a panel discussion. And this is entitled, Building a Diverse, Equitable, and Inclusive Work Culture to Attract and Retain Talents. So, for this session, we will take up the future of work in the post-pandemic world and the strategies being implemented to improve the employment environment towards attracting and retaining talents. So, to introduce our moderator for this session, we are pleased to have the Vice President for Operations of the Life Division of One Cooperative Insurance System of the Philippines, Life and General Insurance, or simply 1CISP. She has been in the cooperative movement for more than 8 years, starting her career in the said cooperative as a trainer and then head of the Human Resources Department with the role in organizational development until she was promoted in her latest position this January of 2018. She has been vital in ensuring the growth, engagement, and organizational commitment of the best asset of their organization, its employees. Let us all welcome with a virtual applause Ms. Jackelyn Ballena.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to our session. As Aleli has mentioned, it's building a diverse, equitable, and inclusive work culture to attract and retain talent. First, let me ask each one of you, how are you feeling today? Can you show in the chat box some emojis of how you are feeling today? So I hope that you are all doing great. There, I see Aleli. I hope others will gonna say. So there are a lot of smiley faces. Merong isa parang tumatawa. May thumbs up. Thank you so much for the participation. Okay, so the Global Outlook survey of Deloitte Center for Financial Services revealed that despite ongoing COVID-19 concerns, most insurance industry leaders expect an accelerating economic recovery, significant growth in 2022. So this is something positive. However, challenges ranging from economic hurdles, sustainability concerns, and rapidly evolving consumer product and purchase preferences are present. To help manage these concerns, insurers should include in its strategic priorities the measures to attract and retain talent in an evolving hybrid work environment. So since the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, so we had different kinds of work environment, from the pre-COVID wherein we report physically in the office, and then we had to go unexpectedly to work from home setup. Now some have already returned to their reporting physically into the office. Some are doing already hybrid work environment, but there are also other organizations who have opted to continue the work from home setup. So this session will take a look at the programs implemented by the microinsurance sector to empower its employees amidst the pandemic and the strategies used to improve the employment environment towards attracting and retaining talents. It's so good to see that a lot have responded in the group chat and a lot are positive, smiling, merong kiss ng heart, merong thumbs up. Thank you so much. So sourcing the right talent is actually very difficult given the talent war. Meron ngayong talent war na nagaganap. Okay, it's looking for the right talent to do the work. But aside from looking for that right talent, we want a talent also that wants the job that they're applying for and somebody who wants to stay and grow in the organization. So we have 3 panelists for this afternoon who will be sharing their experiences, who will be sharing their best practices on this area. And I'll be introducing them one by one. So let me start off with our first presenter. Our first presenter currently works as VP for Operations, ASKI Management Group, ASKI MFIHO. Her career in development organization started as a training officer in 1995 for the Philippine Australian Savings and Loan Association Project, or PASLA, covering 6 municipalities in Nueva Ecija. She was tasked to develop capacity building program for the project, both for clients and the project management team of PASLAP. In October 1998, a separate HR department was created by ASKI, and she was recognized as the first HR manager of ASKI. She started developing systems and policies for the HR department of ASKI and crafted manuals, performance management system, and code of discipline for personnel of MFI. She was also part of the key officers who helped in the establishment and registration of ASKI Skills and Knowledge Institute. At present, she oversees HR, admin, corporate planning, and research and development department of the ASKI group. Friends, let us all welcome Ms. Divina Gracia Concepcion Santos. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jackie. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Microinsurance Week. We are very glad to be part of this virtual session and share our practices as a microfinance institution and as MIMBA in building a diverse, equitable, and inclusive work culture in order for us to retain our people, our talent, the most important resources, especially in this very challenging time. So let me start with this question. How did the pandemic impact the workforce of ASKI and the work arrangement? Very quick look, next slide please. Very quick look on the effects. Of course, decreased employees, as mentioned several times since yesterday and since the last management forum. So for the year 2020, a total of 200 employees resigned and left ASKI. Reasons mostly are their fear of and worries in traveling to communities since they have many vulnerable family members. So due to liquidity concerns, we also have to end the contract of 24 new employees. These are the non-permanent. Next slide, please. We also had impact in terms of the workload of the remaining employees. So there are branches that we have to reduce the work days in a week. So 3 days work week equivalent to 40% cut on the salaries of our employees. So why we reduce the working days to 3 days? That was May 2020 to October 2020. We are sharing this. We give the staff additional income stream through our microinsurance products, and they make use of the social media remaining 2 days of the week in providing and selling social protection for the vulnerable groups. Next slide, please. Just a summary of the pressing issues, which later became threat to our organization. So these are the following: the transportation and health, the several absences, rules and restrictions that we have to comply. No option, sabi nga nung ED namin, no option but to comply with the regulations. So this affected the operation of the branches, retention of employees, which eventually had an impact on our target deliveries, and of course, yung challenge nung simula in preparing our employees to adapt to the new normal. Next slide, please. The structure of the branches were reduced from 98 to 95, and as of this period, we only have 92 branches. And in terms of, next slide, employees' learning and development, it was severely affected as well. So we have to reduce our training days with only 1.5 training days per employee on average. Okay, now next slide. In terms of the strategies that we apply to retain and develop our talent, the people, here are the best experiences of ASKI. Of course, as an institution, ASKI is very strong in our commitment to ensure that there is a culture of inclusivity. So you will notice meron diyang rainbow. Our workforce will soon be dominated by the millennial and Generation Z employees who will take over the workforce of ASKI, the workforce of most institutions in the coming years. So equality, non-discrimination, all gender is very important as long as the candidate or the talent has the needed competencies to perform the assigned job. Next slide. Top priority pa rin is employees' well-being or the health of the people first. Not just to comply with the regulations of Department of Labor and IATF, but really to show their care and value for our talents. So we strengthen. Even before, prior to the pandemic, we have a very strong family welfare program. We have a dedicated safety officer. So we strengthen our family welfare program through our occupational safety and health unit. Next slide. We continue on with ASKI reward system. It is very important, very, very important to nourish a culture of recognition, even the most challenging times. Everyone will agree, I'm sure po, no? Do not defer the recognition program. Our employees is longing for it, no? So we continue our service recognition last December, virtual, awarding of employees virtually. So pati cash reward virtual, di po. Pinadala po namin sa mga apps, ano? So they receive it. So next slide. Even before pandemic, we have a strong program for employees training and development. So we ensure that the consistent rollout will still happen, even virtual sessions for employees learning and development. So the culture of learning for the whole institution is very important. So we provide training and skills development not only for the top performers, hindi lang po yung mga outstanding, even the rest. Next slide. And be sure to promote a culture of community and connections and transparency among employees, kahit na may physical distancing. So we involve employees in goal setting, monitoring of key outputs, and regularly communicating to them that our performance management system is still working. Remember, performance management system is crucial to ensure productive output of your employees despite some limitation. So a strong proof that we in ASKI retains our talent is the average length of service of ASKI employees. Overall, the average length of service of 842 employees is at 7.5 years. For key officers like us, kasama po ako doon, average length of our service is at 22 years, 2 dekada po, through Blue ASKIAs. We're very proud of that. Next slide, please. In terms of the programs that we implemented to empower our employees despite the pandemic, I am very certain that these are similar with other institutions in this forum. Of course, we applied the flexible work scheme. Bibilisan ko na lang po dito kasi I'm sure everyone ay ginawa ito, advance payment of salaries during the hardest period of lockdown. So we granted advances sa mga wala ng leave credits during the ECQ that was month of March to May 2020. Moratorium sa mga loans nila, syempre may bayanihan. Then HR worked well, even we our. Salamat sa Diyos, meron kaming mga masisipag na HR team. Madaling araw po just to submit and process their comp, yung sa SBWS. Around 95% of employees received financial assistance like comp and SBWS, a small business wage subsidy. We also gave option for our employees to advance half of their 13-month cash assistance and food packs, so all COVID-19, many institutions ay ginawa po yung gano'n, And this is so masaya. This is really masaya. Kasi the savings from our big activities, we converted it to our year-end cash keep. So this is very, very true po. So year 2020 and 2021, kasi nag-review kami, nag-evaluate, kasama po yung mga heads. So maraming savings. So to really support ang aming mga empleyado, we converted it to year-end cash in. So even before the recent DOLE Advisory 01-2022, urging companies to provide paid leaves for quarantine, we at ASKI are already implementing paid leaves during quarantine, both for close contacts and COVID-19 positive employees. So next slide, please. We continue with our learning and development program despite restrictions on face-to-face events. So we use and explore all helpful virtual online platforms for learning. Even the management development program for new managers, for the year 2021, we were able to complete it through virtual session. We continue conducting virtual meetings. Sabi nga kanina ni Ma'am Salve, all sorts of mura na group chat. We created group chat per category, per level, the most cost-efficient way. But make sure to always check the privacy settings of your group chats. Always check the privacy settings. So for the client, we have the Usapang ASKIan page through Facebook. Syempre, pagka po hindi ASKI, hindi pwedeng mag-join doon kasi merong security questions. Next slide. We continue with the active health monitoring, especially regular reminders on safety protocols. Sabi nga po kanina ni Secretary, yung Vergeire, these are very important since there are still employees until now who are very reluctant to report back to work due to the fear of being infected. So we do this through our dedicated safety officer. So through the safety officer down to the branches, sa mga key officers po namin. We provided regular health learning sessions, mga empowerment talks to cope on the challenges of pandemic designed by our training institute, helping employees to reduce anxieties and sharing of experiences, how the pandemic shaped them and how the pandemic shaped us as a leader, no? So we maximize sessions, hindi po masyadong magastos yun kasi we maximize sessions during our daily virtual morning devotion. So we continue our training amidst the limitation of face-to-face. So re-skilling, yung po, re-skilling of our employees is very, very important. So next slide. Ito rin po. We have to ensure the connections is there. No, we connected well to the local government units. We explored and is still exploring a lot of partnership for cost-efficient preventive health programs. So ASKI was able to avail of the on-site mobile vaccination for our employees. Ayan po, the LGU of here in the head office set up a mobile vaccination. Actually, sa parking lot po yan. So the 840 employees we have is 96%. May model po ako, natawa si Sir Junjay, and many already received their booster shots. So yan po ay naging on-site mobile vaccination. Kasi natatakot po yung ibang pumunta pa sa mga vaccination area. Next slide, please. We provided free transport for employees. Na-mention po ito nung nakaraang management forum. Nagawa po talaga kami ng carpooling. So for the employees required, meron kasi kami skeletal workforce, nag-provide kami ng sasakyan, tapos yung iba naman carpooling. And lastly, for this particular part, this is very important. We conducted regular check of employees' motivation level. Medyo akala lang po mahirap, pero pagka makakaya yan, search sa mga simple motivational questions. So the employees' motivation survey was done during the last quarter of 2020 through our research and development together with the HR. So we conducted a survey, especially among our agents, our field personnel, to check and gauge how they are still motivated to work amidst the pandemic. So the result, we have 86% level of motivation. Now, I think this is the last part. In terms of the challenges and lessons learned, we have to manage the following. Next slide, please. In terms of the challenges, we have to manage the following concerns. Certainly, the big challenge on funds, financial resources. So majority of financing institutions had a significant liquidity crunch. So ito po yung talagang naging isa sa kailangang harapin. So savings is very important. And next one, yung mga movement, as I've mentioned kanina, so we have to relocate, work from home arrangement, compliance to regulations, obey and comply. So kailangan pong sundin. Ang LGU dito sa Nueva Ecija, iba-iba, magkakaiba, no option but to comply. We are operating in regions 1, 2, and 3, no options but to comply, kahit magkakaiba. Physical and mental health of employees, there are times unstable, so kasama sa challenges, and many employees are still reluctant to report back to work due to the fear of being infected. So the work target na decrease, so some employees cannot respond to face-to-face activities. And another challenge is the adoption of digital initiatives. Since yesterday po, we're listening about all the digitalization processes. Crucial is the matching of the technological skills even down to the community level. So since our work targets were affected, we started with our e-kamustahan or the client engagement call. So we call it at e-kamustahan. Kasama ko po dito yung aming ED ng microfinance. So sila po yung very much involved on this. So spearheaded ng managers sa branches, they must connect to clients virtually, minimum of 10 clients sana per day. So for the 95 to 92 branches, including reconnecting to resting clients. And the last two slides, important lesson, adaptability and preparedness. Next slide, please. We used to confront a lot of natural disasters. Since yesterday, we were talking about yung sa climate, like typhoons, but the pandemic is new to all of us. So for the past 2 years, malaking po talaga yung handa tayo. Substantial saving is very important for every organization. And lastly, we have to communicate and connect. Of course, to our government, we need each other, no doubt. We need each other. To the industry players, sharing is caring, diba? To the internet, ensure that we have the stable connections to all our people. Transparency is helpful. And most of all, to God, through our collective prayers. So thank you very much for listening. Happy National Microinsurance Week.
Thank you so much, Ms. Divina. I'm sure everybody learned a lot from the programs that you have shared. So I'll see you later on the panel discussion. I have some questions for you, and I'm sure our audience would like to ask further on the programs that you have presented. Thank you so much. Let's go on to our next presenter. She has 30 years of experience in project planning, formulation, implementation, and monitoring of microfinance and microinsurance programs gained from local and international nonprofit organizations. She is the current Director, Operations and Marketing of TSPI Mutual Benefit Association Incorporated. Friends, let us all welcome Ms. Sherry Lou Salazar. The virtual floor is yours, Ms. Sherry Lou.
So, yeah, I am here to present our experience in building a diverse, equitable, and inclusive work culture to attract and retain talents. So, allow me to introduce TSPI Mutual Association. Next slide, please. Okay. TSPI Mutual Benefit Association is a non-stock, non-profit MBA established in 2005. So we just celebrated our 16th year last August. We offer micro-insurance products and social development services only to TSPI NGO clients and TSPI employees. So we operate Luzon-wide through the network of 120 TSPI NGO branches. Bali, sa bawat branch po ng TSPI, meron po diyang isang micro-insurance officer po. Our partner is TSPI or Tulay sa Pag-unlad Incorporated. This is a microfinance NGO. It's also non-stock, non-profit, established for 40th year last October. And TSPI provides livelihood and social loan program. Kami po ng TSPI, we share the same vision at ito po ay ang makita ang mga tao na nakasentro po yung buhay nila kay Kristo. Nabubuhay po ng may dignidad, may kasapatan, may integridad at may pag-asa. At makikita po ito sa pamamagitan po ng kanilang pagmamahal at serbisyo sa bawat pamilya at komunidad. So we are very passionate about bringing good news, and that is spreading the gospel and hope to the communities that we serve. Next slide, please. Okay. Dito po sa TSPI, we follow a transformational framework. Ang paniniwala po ng TSPI MBI, in servicing the less privileged, we cannot just offer microinsurance. So in partnership with our MFI NGO who offers livelihood support services, we are assured that our members have the financial resources to pay for their insurance premium. TSPI pushes for financial inclusion. Ang ibig sabihin po nito that we ensure that the communities that we serve can access affordable, appropriate, and timely financial products and services. Ito po ay ang loan, savings, at microinsurance products. We also provide capacity building, focusing on financial literacy, business skills, and decision-making ability. So our framework focuses on two things, financial standing and relational maturity of our members. The first focuses on our members' capacity to develop credit and savings discipline and embrace a strong ethical value of doing business. When we talk to our members, simple lang yan ano ba yung strong ethical values of doing business? For example po, nagtitinda sa palengke, dapat po yung timbangan, sakto, hindi po tayo nanloko ng tao. And then yung deepened relationship with God, family, and community. So ang end result po nito, we always go back to the Lord. The result is still God-centeredness, having God-fearing and socially responsible members, wherein majority of our members are micro-entrepreneurs and farmers. Next slide po. Okay. During the pandemic, what we have rolled out is our Sambayanihan program model. Sambayanihan is a combination of the words Samba, Bayan, and Anihan. Yung unang salita po, samba, for us, serving others is a God-given mission, and TSPI does it in a way that will bring glory to God. Meron po kaming panatang mga empleyado, no? At dun sa dulo ng aming panatang, sinasabi po doon, higit sa lahat, hangarin naming mabigyan ng papuri ang Diyos. So as part of our TSPI pledge, and as commanded dun sa unang sulat po ni Apostle Paul to the Corinthians, so whatever you eat or drink or whatever you do it for the glory of God. Ang pangalawang salita po dyan ay ang bayan. Bayan describes not just the communities that we serve. It embodies a deeper meaning that is beyond providing micro loans and micro insurance. It gives the opportunity to each and every staff and member to demonstrate love and service in their community. At ito po ay ang misyon ng TSPI. The last word is anihan. Anihan is the result of our labor. If God is the center of all that we do in TSPI, we will harvest with songs of joy. Next po. So ito po yung flexible work model that TSPI adopted when the pandemic started, no? We have the Sambayanihan Centers. This is in partnership with our center leaders. We discuss with our members of TSPI, meron po ba kayong bakanting lote dyan na pwede natin tayuan ng maliit na sentro? So sweat equity po yung sa mga members namin. And then TSPI would finance for the construction of these Sambayanihan Centers. Dun sa construction po nung Sambayanihan Center, yung labor po sa kanila na, and then yung materials po, it would depend ano ba yung kakayanin ng bawat miyembro. So it's a partnership between TSPI and our members po. Our TSPI Sambayanihan Centers created remote work access. So responding to the demands of logistics due to lockdown, we took our businesses to our members. Our field staff can go directly to the Sambayanihan Center and conduct his daily transactions. Digitalized infrastructure means investing in innovation and taking the business online. Sa TSPI MBI po, ang claims payout namin online na. We use GCash, InstaPay, PesoNet, NextPay. And for our partner MFI NGO, they also use GCash in their loan release. We also have our TSPI app for our collection of loans and insurance premium. Next slide po. So to continue, this is our framework po, no? Diversified, inclusive work culture. Paano po siya naging diversified and inclusive? In terms of governance, the oversight is being managed by TSPI MBI Board, the Director for Operations of both TSPI MBI and the TSPI MFI NGO. So sa bawat Sambayanihan Center po, we have center leaders with dedicated staff from MBI, yung ating insurance officer and senior insurance officer, and from our MFI NGO, yung branch manager and account officer. In the Sambayanihan Center, we have regular activities. Ang focus po talaga namin dito is our values formation. So meron po kaming usapang paglago. We have client program orientation, center meetings. Dito sa center meetings na co-conduct yung MBI enrollment, renewal, claims processing, and also yung NGO loan disbursement. We have major programs, the enterprise training and development. Meron po kaming usapang agri, usapang paglago, livelihood training. Disaster and medical assistance, health and sanitation, focusing on our yung mga anak po ng mga miyembro namin. Meron po kaming programa yung Musmus, Bangong Alaga, at para naman po sa mga seniors, ito po yung tinatawag namin na senior moments. Diversified and inclusive, bakit po? Kasi po, ang bawat sentro, sila po ang nag-choose kung ano po yung program na gagawin nila dun sa Sambayanihan Center. So we do not tell them na, oh, ito yung magiging programa para sa inyo. They are the one who chooses the programs that can be implemented in their Sambayanihan Centers po. Okay, next slide po. So what have we achieved so far? Since we implemented the program, number one po, we developed a deeper relationship with our center leaders and members through immersed interactive transformation programs. We had a wider community coverage and better outreach. We expanded our community's access to programs and services by engaging families as TSPI advocates. Our area-based operation meant lower branch overhead costs kasi nga po yung mga account officers at insurance officers dumidiretso na din sa mga sambayanihan center. Nung lockdown, hirap po sila pumunta sa field. Our field personnel increased our market share and improved our customer service. So next slide po. So ito po yung mga nagaganap sa ating sambayanihan centers. Now we have Bible studies, we have cluster meetings. Ito pong TSPI agent collection. Yung, sinabi ko po sa inyo kanina na TSPI developed our own collection app. Na ito po yung ginagamit namin to collect loans and insurance premium. We have micro-insurance reorientation and other activities being conducted in our sambayanihan centers. Next slide, ma'am. So this would be our last slide, no? How to answer the question, how do we attract and retain talents? Like ASKI, we had several programs. We have trainings, health kits, may vaccine day kami kapag schedule mo to get a vaccine, it's not charged sa inyong leave credit. OB, official business, ang ginagawa ng organization. Tapos we also partnered with MCPI, scheduled yung vaccination ng aming mga staff. And we also did carpooling like what the other organization did. Meron din kaming advance payment, work from home, Thanksgiving gift. We're so fortunate that despite of the pandemic, we still stayed afloat. And for that, binigyan po ng Thanksgiving ang mga employees. But the reason behind why we are able to retain talent and make them stay sa aming organization is that we believe we are guided by our core values of stewardship, excellence, servanthood, and integrity. Our work in TSPI MBI is a calling, it is a ministry. So I would like to believe that it is not just a 9-to-5 work. In TSPI, we grow in love and service for God's glory. Maraming salamat po at sana po marami tayong napulot sa aking sharing. To God be the glory.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sherry Lou. Definitely, just like with ASKI, there are a lot of programs that you have shared that's very interesting. One of which later on probably we can further discuss is the Sambayanihan Centers and what has been the further impact of that one. Thank you so much. Now, let us go to our third and last presenter for this session. Our last resource speaker provides strategic thought and leadership to improve human resources, business processes, and efficiencies, supporting teams across business units and clients. She is a full member of the International Federation of Professional Managers and the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes, and set to be conferred as an Associate Fellow in People Management Association of the Philippines Society of Fellows. Friends, let us all welcome Ms. Donna Marie Michelle Dizon, Vice President, Administration and Corporate Planning, Climbs Life and General Insurance Cooperative Philippines, and Executive Director of Climbs Institute of Management.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jackie, my colleague in the cooperative insurance. And mayong hapon sa tanan, magandang hapon po sa lahat. And thank you very much, Rimansi, Lima, for inviting clients and to share with you how is it to be able to build a diverse, equitable, inclusive work culture to attract and retain talents. So let me begin by sharing what is clients. Baka po kasi hindi po lahat nakakaalam kung ano po yung clients. So next slide, please. We are a life and non-life insurance cooperative, so one of the 5 composite insurance companies in the country. We have retained our head office in Mindanao. So I am based in Mindanao, Cagayan de Oro, where our head office is. And it was born in 1971. So medyo matagal na po. It's 50 years already. So we celebrated last year and it's a year-long activity. So CLIMS po, kung nagtataka po kayo, CLIMS means cooperative life insurance and mutual benefit society. But we had that handle, we retained that handle of clients because our cooperative member owners are associated with it. So kaya po sama-sama tayong mag-climb together as a cooperative, in the cooperative movement and in the helping the microinsurance industry as well. And next slide, please. So it's part of our introducing clients to also our future and current employees is to let them know who are we affiliated with. So we are affiliated with different local and international organizations. And next slide. We also tell them what is our vision and mission. So I also want to share it with you that our vision is to be a leading cooperative insurer for the grassroots of the Philippine population. And we do that by providing innovative and technology-driven insurance and offering risk management solutions primarily to cooperatives in the Philippines and to support their growth. Next, please. Okay, in the Philippine landscape, so saan po tayo ngayon? We are number 19. This is a 2020 figures. We are 19 out of the 31 life insurance companies in the country and 29 out of 58 non-life insurance companies. Overall, the next slide you will see we are number 18. So we can flash the next slide, please. Out of 30 insurance companies in the country. And also in the international market, where I know that Rimansi is also a member in the ICMIF, the International Cooperative Mutual Insurance Federation. We are in the 2018 survey. We are number 27 in the emerging markets and the number 4 in the fastest growing ICMIF members for non-life. So it is important also to show that even if we're operating locally, we're impacting also in the grassroots level, we are also making an impact globally. And it is a shared contribution for all of us, no, dito sa cooperatives and also the mutual associations in the Philippines. Next, please. Next slide. Okay, so these are our core values. You can move back to the core values. I'd just like to highlight number 2. We share the core values of family, health, trust, respect, communication, and transparency, because this will also lead to how we are presenting clients and how we are working together as a unit in clients, no? Attracting and retaining our talents. Okay, next slide, please. These are our ways. So we say we culture add. It means to say that when we hire, we are very, we always see to it that we hire based on the 3 C's: competence, character, and chemistry. So not only that the person is fit for the job, but we want to see how well will he or she work with others, and also what is his or her work attitude. I'm sure po yun din po ang hinahanap natin talaga with in our organizations. And culture fit, of course, once you are already here in clients, we blend together, we work together as also as a family. Yun po yung nakita natin kanina, that is also our shared core value of being as a family. So yung po nakikita natin sa labas, how people perceive us or how companies perceive us, that is the personality of clients. But how we work together, that is our culture, our shared culture. And during this pandemic, it has been very, we have highlighted that there is a need for an empathetic and compassionate leadership. And also, not only during the pandemic, but as we move to the next 50 years of climbs, we want to navigate and grow together, not only a personal development natin, but also organizationally. And then lastly, which is very important, is the aligned core values. So we can move to the next. So the biggest disruption came. So ito yung pandemic palaging sinasabi natin. May alpha, delta, beta, gamma. Tas ngayon may Omicron na naman na variant. So what are the implications of this? Of course, number one, decreased in-person social connections and increased health concerns. So pag decreased social connections, of course, there's a productivity that will be also sacrificed, and also health concerns. Kasi sadly, we lost a colleague in clients, and also there are still many that are being affected also by COVID. But we also have solutions to manage that. What are these? First, we have a systematic COVID-19 management. So yung kung sinasabi kanina that we have to implement the IATF guidelines, and also the local government units, no, yung mga quarantine restrictions, lockdowns, and even right now, as I'm speaking, alert level 3 po din po kami dito sa Cagayan de Oro. So we make sure that we follow all of these protocols. We have our OSH team, we have our company nurse monitoring all of us, and we also provide basic information and also continuing information on really telling our staff, our employees, what are the implications, also how to prevent inflicting with the disease and also catching the disease and minimizing the transmission. And a part of it is providing employee shuttle services to those who are reporting physically, yung skeleton workforce natin, and also giving them weekly KPI monitoring for our department heads para hindi po mas-sacrifice din yung productivity. Next is the business continuity management. So we activated our business continuity plan. So we have it and it has been tested. No, totoo talaga, it has been tested right now. So we have a revised version of it na applicable na po yung what are our responses if this is a level 4, this is a level 3, or we go back to the normal the new normal workplace. No? And then thirdly, we have strengthened also our digital infrastructure. So that's both internal and external because we moved everything online. So digital na po tayo lahat. Most of our activities right now virtually done. And increased employee engagement and health awareness. So ano po ito? Yung mga information sessions, yung mga virtual coffee chats. So kasama po dyan. And then the Excel program, we continue it. If you can see in the next slide, can you flash the next slide, please? We have the Excel program is the Excellent Climbs Leadership Employees Program. So part of that is our birthday honoring and employee of the month selection. So hindi po siya nag-stop kahit na po pandemic. We just brought it to a virtual platform. So you can see there insert tech review of the day. So we ask our members, our users, how are they comfortable using the digital infrastructure. We also have the Friday Wellness Talks, our climbs vaccination drive. So as of now, we only have 2 left because they're pregnant women and they have to seek clearance from the doctors. But all of us are already vaccinated, and also some of us are boosted, including myself. And we have credible speakers. So tama po yun, we have to have the right information drive. And we distributed care packs as well to our employees. Next slide, please. So what is a Climbs inclusive work culture? So in talent pooling and retention, we say that for right now, we have been attracting talents, headhunting, 100% being done virtually. And for reskilling, like yung mga sinabi ng mga colleagues so kanina, we still do the skills training and skills matching and also upskilling. Kasama po doon yung lahat ng mga ginagawa natin virtually, no? Online webinars and workshops. And very important is to prepare the next generation leaders. So kami po naniniwala na, of course, there's always has to be a succession plan. And we are really strengthening the workforce right now. We do trainings at all management levels. And also, lastly, very important is to embody the cooperative values and principles. Ito po yung tinatawag nating social responsibility through Climbs Cares. Kasi po, they want to be involved. Especially right now, our workforce is more of 80% po tayong mga millennials, Y and Z. While I belong in the Gen X, pero they're wanting to be a contribution to the society. We ask them to also volunteer for our Climbs Cares activities. Okay, next slide, please. These are just some of the photos. So we already launched our Climbs Enhanced Weather Protect Insurance and also our Tabang Bohol and Surigao operations. We have our gender activities, gender sensitivity activities, cooperative talks, business continuity in the normal, and among others. Can have next slide, please. And this is what I'm talking about on really promoting youth for co-ops. Now, because the movement, the cooperative movement, although it's an old movement, but it is a very modern movement. So sila po talaga yung hope natin, not only in the nation, but also in the cooperative sector. Next, please. Next slide, please. So these are just some of the snapshots from our team. So you can move back the other slide. You can see, so we can see there Arlene, who also participated in the ICA Youth Summit, and also Denver, a millennial, our IT system specialist. He said that he wants a creative environment as a millennial. So Climbs is a perfect fit for him. And Margie is who's been with us for 20 years already, and she has grown also with Climbs. And our Employee of the Month in 2020, that's Joy Fest. So she also had a personal testimony of how is it to grow with Climbs as well, not only for her personal career, but also to be part of the organizational growth. Next, please. And so we move to preparing the hybrid workforce and the importance of education. So we always say of a VUCA environment. So this is the really VUCA environment, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So what we need are leaders who are flexible in the cognition and in the emotion and in disposition. So when we say flexibility in cognition, kailangan po natin talaga na we're able to kami din po in the Climbs top management and the middle management, we're able to store multiple informations and being agile, no, kung may mga changes tayo. And then flexibility in emotions. So we want to attend to the employees' concerns. Ano ba talaga ang nasa isip nila? Keep touch. So we tell the department heads, keep in touch with your employees, and we manage mga differences and even complaints and the resistance to changes. And then lastly, flexibility in disposition. So ito yung balancing of being optimistic and being realistic. So kasama po dito yung role of education for Climbs, no? So that's why we have our Climbs Institute of Management. Ito po yung na-develop for the internal and our external clients. So you can see the pictures there. These are just some of the activities we have done. The recent one is the Business Innovation Planning Workshop. So which will lead me to the last point of this presentation. So kanina po in the early part, I presented some of the numbers where Climbs is right now. But actually, the essence, lalo na ngayon that we're celebrating the National Microinsurance Week, is really beyond numbers. So the numbers just there as an aspirational goal for all of us. That's 2024. That's what we echo right now. It's a battle cry. Now 20 million lives in 2024. So social protection within reach for Filipino grassroots population. And we want to invite you can show the last slide, for Friday, if you have time, please take a screenshot, and you can join us for this forum on social protection, addressing climate action. So that's it. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have also learned something from what we have been doing in Climbs. Thank you very much. Magandang hapon po ulit.
Thank you so much, Donna, for such a wonderful presentation. It's very comprehensive, and there's a lot of programs that can be learned there, and let's talk about it in a little while. Okay, so let me ask again Miss Divina, Ms. Sherilu to be in our panel. So we'll have our panel discussion right now. So for those of you there in the audience, if you have any questions or if you have follow-up with the presentations made by our presenters earlier, so you may chat them in the chat box and ask those questions to our presenters. Okay, but before that, so I'll have some questions. I have written down some questions on your very good presentations earlier. And then after which, we're going to get some questions from the audience. And if there's still time, there are 4 areas that I'd like to concentrate: sourcing, the current work structure, retention, and then the impact on growth. Okay, so first let's start off with Miss Divina. Is it Divina or you want me to call you Joy? Baka ang pakiramdam mo ay tinatawag ka ng yung nanay at pinapagalitan ka.
Yeah, whatever it is, Joy or Divina, it's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Joy. Okay, in the presentation earlier, there was a high attrition rate. Mataas yung number of resignations. Probably our audience are curious. How did you address or is coping with the resignation, given that you have mentioned earlier also that it had actually impact on your targets?
Just like I have presented, we have to maximize the workload. So we were able to reskill most of the employees, and that is very important. Yung alam nila yung susunod na gagawin. In the branches, na-reduce man yung structure namin, nag-merge man, nakatulong ng malaki yung mga ginawa namin sa digital application. We have our IC nurses as part of the ASKI group. We have our own hardware and software business institution. So nakatulong sila to ensure na nagkukulang man ng tao, no? Sabi ko nga na maximize yung workload. Malaking adjustment, but yung mga flexible work arrangement namin kahit pa paano nakatulong. But then, nung pumasok yung 2021, ang nireplace na lang namin yung mga nawala. So it's very important na natuturuan talaga yung training. Before kasi an average 3 days per employee per year ang average training days. So as I have presented, noong 2020, naging 1.5. Salamat sa Diyos, noong 2021, nabalik siya sa 2.5 per day. So it's very, very important. So una, yun nga, maximize the workload of the remaining employees and always involve in the branches na sa goal setting alam nila para kung may mawala man, alam nila yung gagawin. So thank you.
That's very great. Just another question for Joy. You mentioned earlier about performance management system. You set your KPIs, but because there was a change in the work structure from reporting physically to the office to your branches, and then there are some na nag-work from home. Did you change the performance management system that you have?
Yes, sabi ko nga, affected yung target kasama rin sa presentation namin. So we have to adjust. We have to ensure na realistic pa rin yung nakapaloob dun sa PMS. Prior to pandemic, we have the PMS, I perform, no? So we develop also by our ASKI group. But later on, it has to adjust. It has to maka-adapt dun sa kailangan namin i-review with the effects of the targets down the field. So nabago lahat yun. But we have to ensure na alam ng empleyado na working pa rin yung performance management system. And whenever yung nag-induct kami ng bagong managers, we explain to them that PMS should not just be about yung kanilang performance, yung kanilang ma-achieve, ma-deliver na target, but always remember that PMS should start from the day one that we assign a new employee in your branches, in your units. So kasama yun sa orientation kanila. And it's malaking bagay na pagka nag-train kami ng new managers, yung aspeto ng performance management ay kasama sa dapat nilang makompleto.
Okay, just last question, Joy, for you. It was very interesting that you mentioned that you're monitoring or checking on the motivation level of the employees, and it's on a quarterly basis. Was it really on a quarterly basis before, or you have changed it because of the pandemic on a quarterly basis?
Actually, annually, di ba? It's part of the target ng aming team sa HR together with research, tapos semi-annually. Nung nag-pandemic, crucial na makita namin mag-gauge how our field personnel ay still motivated to work. So, semi-annual lang siya talaga dapat. So, for 2020, na-apply namin yung gauging of the level of motivation nung last quarter. So, it used to be semi-annual, but syempre during the pandemic, kung ano yung priority need, di ba dati ang aming mga unit, pwede silang mag-meet ng every 2 months. So dahil maraming kailangang response, so nagkaroon din ng changes. And it's good that we have the virtual platform, so nagagawang possible even without the face-to-face, and even with the limited yung physical na pagpasok nila sa opisina. So annually, semi-annually, tas ginawa namin noong 2020 dahil kailangan talaga. We really have to ensure na nandyan pa sila, nararamdaman pa nila na they are being valued by the whole organization.
Okay, thank you so much, Joy. Now let me go to Ms. Sherry of TSPI. Very, very great presentation as well. My question is on the Sambayanihan centers. You mentioned earlier po na it brings to the members yung pag-create ng Sambayanihan centers, and it has widened the network, and it has increased the market share, and it has improved actually the customer service. Given na nag-create kayo ng ganon at doon na basically yung mga employees ninyo, were you not affected, just unlike with ASKI ba na nagkaroon sila ng resignations in terms of attrition rate?
How did talents? I'm sorry.
Go on, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, po.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
In my
po.
last slide, how did we retain talents? Actually, our attrition rate before the pandemic, it's still the same. It's around 20%. Medyo mataas siya, Pero when we look at the MFI and the microinsurance industry, nasa ganung level naman yung attrition rate. So, hindi nagbago sa TSPI. It's almost the same pa rin, nasa around 20%. Ang shinare ko nga kanina, with TSPI, for us, this work is a calling, it is a ministry. So, parang yun yung nag-i-invite sa mga employees why they want to work with TSPI. Actually, we belong to a network, it's the APEN group. So, hindi lang ako sure kung ano yung attrition ng ibang partners namin. But, yun talaga yung goal namin is to get employees who are also willing to share the gospel. So, hindi lang to microfinance, hindi lang ito microinsurance. But at the end of the day, this is not just numbers, this is quality of life. So, yun po.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Sherry Lou. Now, I'll go on to Donna. Among other presenters, si Donna ang na-meet ko na. Hindi pa kami nag-meet personally, pero virtually, we have met on a lot of events. Okay. You mentioned about the 3 C's earlier: competence, character, chemistry. That's something that you look. I think competence is somehow easier to measure, especially during the recruitment stage. But the other 2, character and chemistry, how do you measure that one, that when you hire an employee, you think that employee has the character needed to be a Climbs employee and has the chemistry to go along with other employees of Climbs?
Yeah, yes, that's true. No, that's actually that's very tricky as well, Jackie. But especially it's more of especially for the middle management. We are very more particular in looking at the right attitude at work, especially if he or she has already a background na magmamanage na po siya coming from other organizations or other cooperatives for that matter. And chemistry is something that you develop over time because you have to work. So yung sabi ko, yung culture fitness din, sometimes when your values are personal values are disaligned to the company values, so that's when it becomes difficult. But because of the initiatives being initiated by our HR manager also on the team, we're able to correct some of those. We're able to retain employees. We're able to manage some complaints and also grievances. Hindi naman po talaga immune tayo on grievances. We have just set some very specific methods, and also important talaga is you make that employee engagement, lalo na ngayon where it's very difficult to have an in-person engagement. So for a new hiree, for a fresh grad for that matter, character makikita natin yan, sukatan yan on the first 6 months, di po ba? Even on the probation side, So as they say in the HR, it's easier to hire than to fire. So parang during this month, this is really a very crucial for us for the new hires. But for the executive search and for the middle management, in the interview process, we are very careful in doing that.
Okay, thank you so much. Another question. You've mentioned earlier that you also try to hear with the complaints and resistances.
Mm-hmm.
How do you address those?
Mm-hmm.
Especially that 80% of the population are millennials. And I think those are concerns of also of our attendees for today, and they'll be interested in that one.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, yung context po natin, I just like to put into in a context na this is really the reality of the workforce, millennials na talaga. So we really need to adapt. I mean, I'm a mom of a millennial, so dalawang millennial sa bahay ko. So I really know that I also take very careful attention to what they say, how they act, how they respond to things, and I think it's helpful, especially for those siguro managers who are in the Generation X, kasi dapat talaga it's an inclusive environment. So millennials need more conversations, need more checking. It's not only that you're doing a great job, but you really have to say you're doing a great job because you submitted the paper before deadline. So parang those little things that really make an impact, parang it's something for them. And we're learning. It's a learning curve that we have to navigate din talaga.
Yes, true. Okay, we have some questions in our chat. First, what advice can you give for small organizations who experience difficulty in looking for new talents? Few applications received do not match your requirement. Probably this one is on the sourcing side. You all have very beautiful programs, and I think some of them are way above those in the corporations, because I'm engaged also with, I have a lot of friends also in other corporations through PMAP. So how do you ensure that the applicants actually know the different programs that you have or the benefits that you have?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who wants to start?
Yeah, maybe I can share something. I think right now, because lahat tayo are moving digitally, so they are checking. Applicants are really intelligent naman talaga in the job search. So they are very conscious of how you are also what's your presence on the web and what you do on the ground. So for clients, it's very important for us yung social responsibility. So because the people, yung mga beneficiaries natin, even our, because we have water distribution services din pala in our clients' cares, so they know how we respond, and it's just beyond being part of the organization, but knowing also what's your purpose in the community. So I think they're looking for that.
Okay. Anyone who wants to add on that? And Joy?
Okay, yeah. Talaga namang nung pandemic, ang dami yung talaga natakot. Tapos syempre yung headhunting naging challenge. Even before that, meron namang kaming HR portal. So nakakatulong siya na kasama yun na ina-advertise before we have 98 branches. So malaking tulong yung keep on sharing yung mga naging innovations down dun sa mga branches para alam nila saan mag-apply. At so when they check that, pwede nilang ma-visit yung mga website ng mga ASKI groups. So at least makakaroon sila ng overview. Ganito pala yung magiging trabaho. No? At kanina may question si Sir Junjay, ano yung nahihirapan na post? Talagang yung mga frontline, yung nasa field. So dun sa aming HR portal, pagka kasi nag-apply sila doon, developed also by ASKI, makikita na nila doon ano yung overview ng gagawin nila. So yung expectation nila, alam na nila kasi that's very, very important. No? Sabi ko, we're promoting yung culture na inclusivity. Basta qualified at kaya yung trabaho, pero mahalaga na i-embrace nila yung challenges ng trabaho. Kasi sabi ni Miss Donna, yung competence, character yun, very, very important, the culture fit. Pero pag nandun na, minsan, ang hirap pala, lalo na we have 98 microfinance branches and bawat isang branch, meron kaming in-implement doon na microinsurance. So yung mga bagay na gano'n, nakakatulong, lalo na yung tinatarget natin mas maraming Gen Z millennials using yung social media talaga, the HR portal. And malaking help sa amin, we are part of the PMAP. Tapos we keep on partnering with universities, no? Yung jobs fair before, ngayon virtual na rin. So it's good now. We still have partner ng mga universities na kahit virtual nakakapag. In fact, we were able to accept on-the-job training ng virtual. So yung partnership namin na to, we start with on-the-job training sa kanila. Yung iba doon, marami rin naging empleyado namin in the future.
That's great, yung on-the-job training. Marami yung nawala ng opportunity for that one, which is actually very important to our graduating students. Thank you for that one, Joy. Ms. Sherry, you want to add something?
Yes, for TSPI, we tap our employees and also our members. For employees, we have the staff incentive. So if you bring in a new employee and then a regular siya, we give something. And for the members namin or kapitbahay or yung mga teacher ng trabaho ng aming mga insurance officers at saka yung mga account officers. So then, na-realize nila kung gaano hirap ba yan o gaano ka-fulfilling yung magiging trabaho. And aside from that, like what to get new hires and also coordinate with other universities to get new graduates. Kasi mas maganda yung bagong graduate pa lang so you can train them. Minsan kasi pagka medyo may alam na yung ibang employees, they're, like for example, they're looking for a higher salary, better for example, work experience, baka hindi magkaroon ng job fit lalo na sa mga field workers namin because most of the time, when we say you will be doing 100% field work, umaayaw na. So mas maganda talaga coming from the communities, yung mga applicants namin, mas na-appreciate nila yun.
So before I get another question in the audience, isunod ko na lang din kasi yung karugtong nandun sa method of sourcing is yung onboarding process. How did you ensure that yung mga new hires ninyo felt welcomed in your organization? How was your onboarding process during this pandemic?
Via Zoom, we continue with the Zoom. Actually, Zoom yung ginagamit namin. So, yung normal na orientation, sinaset namin sila, kinokontak. Minsan, meron kaming mga candidate pa lang. Tapos, na-screen na sila. So, pag i-welcome na sila, makikita mo, naghahanap talaga sila ng portion ng kanilang location na ma-access nila yung orientation. So, we continue with that. Medyo challenging sa connection, pero it's good. The orientation, ginagawa din virtually. And just to add, ASKI kasi we have our own ASKI Skills and Knowledge Institute. So we are offering microfinance technology course. Most of the children of clients, members, madami kaming employees sa microfinance. As microfinance officer, doon din namin nakuha.
Okay. Ms. Sherry or Donna?
Yeah. It's Jackie for TSPI. What we do is that we train them on the ground. So mga branches sila nagtitrain. And like what ASKI did, we also have a virtual Zoom meeting with these new hires. Before the pandemic kasi, all of them would go to our head office here in Makati for a few weeks to be trained. But because of logistics and because of the pandemic, hindi na yun nangyari. So we do it sa mga branches na lang. And then the branch would coordinate with our HR unit. So.
Okay. Donna?
Yeah, so for us, what we do is we have the Zoom also through virtual onboarding, but when they are required to work physically in the office, then that's the time that they can be also onboarded, and some of the details, yung mga tanong nila na cannot be answered naman talaga virtually, or they want to see real OJT on the job talaga na training, so they are being guided as well. So I will also add pala yung kanina, we also not only on the digital presence, but we also ask pulling from inside, even from our employees, because we incentivize them if they can have referrals na who stay on. So, isa din yung strategy that we implement, and yeah, so it helps us now.
Okay, referrals. That's something that others can look into also if you want to increase your pool of applicants. Okay, this one is more on the communication side. What are your recommendations to maintain and deepen the connection among employees, especially those working in a work from home setup, wherein through email, chat, and text lang nakakapag-communicate?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah, sure.
Sige, so we can have more discussions.
Yes.
For yung sinabi ni kanina ni Sherry at saka ni Divina, na kailangan talaga yung monitoring of the KPIs. So we really do that, and we really update even virtually, every Friday. So aside from messaging them, kasi actually most of them are very active on Messenger, or baka yung iba din Viber. So we use all these platforms. So just to share, at first it's difficult to manage to have so many group chats, diba? I think that's a shared sentiment. So later on, parang we navigated through it, and then we said, okay, let's just put some boundaries na lang. And also because we're also attending some personal concerns. So yung thin line of balancing your work tsaka yung personal life mo, that is something that I think all of us have also gone through it, and somehow managed to go through the parang na tayo, we have learned how to deal with it na din. So yan, in keeping in touch, and then virtual chats, we do that. Also departmental and one big community.
Okay, Ms. Sherry, I think you want to add something.
Yes, for TSPI, sa branch offices, they report 100%, so we don't have any problem with that. Sa head office, ito yung medyo may challenge kami, but we communicate online. We use Skype, FB Messenger, Viber, and text. And one thing about TSPI, we have the weekly morning devotion. So everybody is encouraged to join that weekly morning devotion. It's every Wednesday. So parang meron kaming community activity, both for the head office and also for the branches. And we would like to expand that we do this not just every Wednesday, but every day of the week. We will have this devotion para everybody is, number one, they can share. Marami kasi sa TSPI yung mga employees, they are also pastors. So they can share the gospel. And then we start the morning, right, with a corporate prayer. So that is how we get in touch with each other.
Okay, that's very nice. Joy, you want to add something?
Yes. Yung connectivity, meron kaming official na, aside from the, sabi mo mga cost-efficient, yung mga group chats, sa head office yung Skype, yung considered official. In fact, before kami nag-allow sa flexible work arrangement, meron kaming defined policy. So na-circulate yan kahit nung pandemic, inayos, ando dun yung output. So ando dun yung template on how you have to submit yung naging output working from home. Challenge minsan yung nasa field. So yung mga branch managers, alam nila na meron silang target na ganitong oras na tatawagan yung mga field personnel. So in the head office, madaling nagagawa kasi pwedeng isubmit ng virtually yung mga work. So we're using Skype emails, tapos yung sa GC, but of course we're very concerned on the data privacy. So yun yung isang laging chine-check ng aming internal audit and compliance para ma-ensure na siyempre maraming mga data na kailangang yung protection for the data. And very important na bago i-allow na mag-work from home ay merong sufficient equipment and tools na alam at oriented yung aming empleyado. Yun, yung mga bagay na yun, those are very, very crucial. Madali kasi tapos yung trust talaga. And we value the role of each of the key officers. So marami kasi kaming business institution. So yung iba sa kanila talagang pwedeng mag-work from home. In fact, we have 2 schools. So yung iba nakakapagturo kahit virtually, talagang all sorts of virtual platforms, Google Meet, ginagamit nila to ensure na maximize yung kanilang oras kahit sila ay nagtatrabaho kasi flexible work arrangement, kailangan talagang i-allowed na sa lahat ng iba't ibang setup na ginagalawan sa kanila. So for the ASKI, we retain our daily devotion. In fact, we're doing it virtually. Ano? Kahit nasa head office kami, meron kaming Zoom link. So it's just 40 minutes na may libre. No? We could share, we could discuss some of the important things that you have to accomplish for the day. So tinuloy pa rin namin yun. Tapos every Friday in the head office, meron kaming weekly learning session, may month na para sa health, yung na-mention po kanina, so ginagawa po yun. So sa susunod na week, merong mga topics na linking them on, because ASKI in October 2020 was certified, yung sa Sustainability Certified Institution, so kailangan maipaalam namin at mapaunawa sa lahat ng empleyado yun. So ginagamit namin yung every Friday na yun as a learning session. May topic per week, tapos we have a dedicated transformation officer, kaya alam din nila na yung ipapag pinadala, o minsan limited yung ng connections, pero namamanage naman na talagang they really value yung morning namin na 8:15 hanggang 8:50 ay makakonect sila sa bawat isa.
Wow, that's nice. Naka-raise hand ka, Ms. Sherry. You want to add more? Or hindi lang ibaba?
Yeah. It's nice to hear from ASKI, that you are also doing the daily morning devotion. And to add to the work from home agreement, for TSPI, those working from home should sign a telecommuting agreement.
No.
And then para hindi rin ito na-abuse, we log in, susulat namin ano yung KPIs namin for the day. And then when we log out, nakasulat din doon kung ano yung mga output for the day. Para merong check and balance.
Okay, next question from the audience. Medyo marami ng... Okay, this one. With regards to giving incentives, we all know that 2020 and 2021 are very challenging years for MFIs. Did you still measure their performance with the standard peso criteria? From Maricel Pamintuan.
Sige, ako na po mauna kasi nandiyan yun sa unang press. Meron kaming policy on performance incentive for our employees. Inano namin yon, sinuspend. Kasi nga, alam namin na yung sitwasyon hindi normal. So, hindi ginamit yung ilang indicators na impractical at kumbaga, uncertain na mangyayari sa branches. Sabi ko nga, ang binigay namin is cash gift, hindi namin tinawag na incentive. So nag-review kami ng mga big activities. Sabi ko kanina, ito masaya. Masaya po talaga for the employees kasi nag-review kami ng mga big, kasi we used to have yearly retreat, team building, malalaki ang cost doon sa entire organization. I-review namin yung mga savings doon. And distribute namin yun na cash gift. So hindi siya incentive. Although, yung sa recruitment ng mga extra effort nila, kung naka-work from home sila, meron dong mga maliliit na incentives na, kasi meron kaming ASKI MBA, tapos we're also partnering with other commercial insurance. So yun yung mga parang naging little incentive nila. Pero yung dating performance incentive scheme namin, sinuspend namin yun. We circulated an information to all the employees na due to the situation, we have to suspend this. At binabago, dinesign namin na talagang magiging practical. So, tinanggal po yung mga incentive. Sabi ko nga, ulitin ko, nag-review kami ng mga expenses na po pwedeng pagkuhanan ng cash gift and some ay medyo equal yung amount, pero syempre, tinignan din namin yung level ng kanilang accountability, syempre yung competence, kung paano sila nag-contribute for the institution nitong taon na to, tsaka nung sumunod na taon. So, yun po. Just review some other of your, baka may natatagong savings.
Okay, we have 15 minutes more. It's good that the presentations earlier, hindi lumagpas ang bawat presenters. We have a lot of time to actually discuss and hear questions from our audience and be able to discuss those. Okay, may question dito, si Sir Junjay. Anong post yung may demand sa ating organizations at saan tayo nahihirapan mag-hire these days? Ms. Joy answered field personnel. How about sa TSPI and sa CLIMS? Are there specific positions that you're having difficulty in hiring, especially during this time?
For TSPI and BI, it's more of the senior positions. Like for example, the internal audit head, HR, I'm doing operations and HR. What else? Social media officer. So, yun yung mga need namin. So, kung interesado po kayo, please feel free to get in touch with me po.
Siguro
But
hindi
for the
yung attendees, yung mga kakilala po nila.
But for the field staff, we're doing okay naman po. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, yung field staff, we get in touch with our members. So sila po yung tumutulong sa amin to help us get in touch with interested applicants for the insurance officer and the account officer position. Kasi sila yung nasa field, on the ground. Alam nila yung situation doon. Alam nila yung paano magtrabaho, paano mainita ng araw, maulanan, paano makipag-usap sa ating mga nanay. So yun yung strategy namin.
Okay, how about you, Donna?
For us, it's actually more of supporting our goals. Kasi I know that some of you have been problems with the retention rate, but for us, we have 1.9% na attrition rate. So actually, we have grown the employees, no, the personnel from 197, we're now 200. In pre-pandemic, we're now 209. So which makes sense kasi nga yung goal natin is 20 million lives to be insured. So kailangan natin madaming admin assistants, madaming claims processors. So those are the things that the positions that we are really looking into to add support services. So which is very important din naman.
Okay, thank you. From Jessie Ledesma, I'm curious with the work and home arrangements. Did I get it right that ASKI now only requires 3-day work for its employees? What have been your learnings and what do you see as future work arrangements in the new normal beginning 2022?
I sent via chat the reply. That was May 2020 to October. Then, unti-unti, ngayon ay back to normal work days, although meron yung 4 days. So depende, no, in terms of the future na nakaspell out din doon sa business continuity plan, we're looking talaga na hybrid, depende sa alert level. Maraming learnings, maraming employees na ang daming, kasi nga kahit hindi pa sila nare-reskill, natutunan nila na kaya pa na nilang mag-market, mag-promote. Marami silang na-discover na other skills nila, yung part ng mga learnings na yun. Plus, yung merong nagsi-share, mas na-balance yung kanilang time kasi they have a chance to be with their families and at the same time, ay allowed pa rin sila na magtrabaho. Sorry for the telephone.
Are you all on a hybrid work setup right now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So meaning there are people reporting in the office and there are people reporting work at home. Is the policy across all or it's as per request basis if they will report in the office or they will be on a work from home setup?
Go ahead, Ma'am Sherry.
Miss Jackie, for TSPI, for our branch offices, frontliners po kasi, everybody is required to report at the branch office. But for the head office, if you can do your work at home, we provide telecommuting agreement.
Okay.
So we follow kasi IATF guideline na X% of the office population should be working on site and X% should be doing it at home.
Okay, so it's based actually on the position somehow. Because if you're working on the field, you have to be on the field.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Donna, you want to say something?
Yes, to add to Ma'am Sherry.
For support services.
Okay.
Yes. In addition din sa sinabi ni Ma'am Sherry, we also do that. We are very particular in complying with the IATF guidelines. And kasi unique siya, di ba, per region, per city, iba-iba. So we really observe that. And of course, with the continuing rise ng mga cases, we need to be very cautious. So we follow what's been by the DOH na yung mga isolation periods and to make sure in the earlier part, we really require when they go back, they have to test. So now that we just follow. So the gold standard is really what the IATF is saying. And then, of course, yung work from home namin na incorporated na din on the BCP on how to staffing yung staffing arrangement in the physical office.
Yeah, just very quick, same with the TSPI, yung sa head office. In fact, this January, we circulated a new circular checking dun sa alert level. And as I have presented kanina sa mga PowerPoint slides ko, there's no option but to comply. Kung ano yung required na dapat na number lang ng tao, depende sa alert level, we have to comply. So ganun, hybrid pa rin. But in the branches, meron kasi kami mga cluster manager, so they're checking ano yung sitwasyon and kung nakikita nilang practicable for them to allow work from home, basta merong nakadefine a certain target because we have the policy, so they will allow.
Okay, so I'll get into the probably last 2 or 3 questions for this session because we're kind of running out of time. So here's a question: what are the weaknesses of communicating virtually with the employees? How do you compensate for those weaknesses?
Miss Jackie, for TSPI, the challenge really is the internet access.
Okay.
So, pagka mahina yung bandwidth, especially for example, may Zoom meeting kayo, biglang mawawala. So, hindi mo malaman ano ba to, ayaw sagutin yung tanong ko, talaga mahina lang yung bandwidth. So, that's one of our problems when we use technology if we communicate with our staff. But otherwise, okay naman. The use of Skype, very, very much used ang Skype sa amin, and also Zoom. We are also into Microsoft Teams when we do meeting.
I think it's something that we can't actually do anything with the internet unless there will be other players in the market who can somehow push that our internet speed be better with what we have right now. Okay.
Yes, same yung, syempre yung connection, yan naman talaga, no, given in every location. Since meron kami mga ilang savings, meron yung hihira ng, in terms, kasi pati yung utilities in the head office and other offices ay monitor namin. So ilang savings doon, partially na-convert, nadagdagan namin sila ng, to compensate, nadagdagan sila ng kaunting, not just literally to compensate, but nakapag-provide ng dagdag allowances para wala na silang dahilan. Communication, intended for communication expenses. Wala na silang dahilan para sabihin, wala po akong pambili ng mobile data. Sabi ko yung nakatulong, and most of them ay talaga namang yung clear, basta clear yung output, clear yung guidelines, nag-respond. Because they are aware na they were given the full trust na mag-work from home kahit na merong mga challenges of connection, pero they are compliant to what has been agreed on the work from home policies.
Okay, Donna?
Yeah, so sa amin, what we learned talaga is we overly communicate. So over talaga. Send it through text, through message blast, Facebook group, lahat, all media channels, social media channels, send it. And it works. So it's good to overly communicate than to under-communicate.
Yeah, para walang excuse na hindi nabasa, hindi nakita sa ganito kasi ang daming nagpapa.
True.
Okay. Question from Junjay. 2 years into the pandemic, sa palagay ninyo, ano pang strong government action ang kailangan natin to support our employees and organizations? Okay, Joy?
Okay, balancing yung financial assistance both for the public and private. Kasi sometimes pagka nasa-circulate sa news, akala ng empleyado, kasama ka agad lahat. So balancing talaga sana and ensuring na smooth yung magiging proseso kung meron kasi maraming apektado dahil yung ibang empleyado naging extended yung family members nila during the pandemic, marami nawalan ng trabaho sa kanila sumasama. So I'm sure yon malaking tulong. Plus, pagka-private kasi maraming financial concerns. So sana yun mabalance yung mabibigay na support.
Thank you. Donna.
For me, because the pandemic, I mean, COVID is novel, diba? So parang we want to have also novel approaches to the solutions that we are being faced with. And I think government naman is doing its best. And siguro for the next 6 years, it will be critical for all of us. So it's not the proper venue to talk about politics. Yung sinabi kanina, di ba, sa Outlook, that's really true. We have to look for leaders na talaga, these leaders really address the needs for the next 6 years. Now, while we are still in pandemic, it's not yet even ending. Kumbaga sinasabi nila endemic, but not yet. But I am just grateful also, kami din sa clients, kasi yung mga policies that we implement at first, like for example, we have already paid even special leaves, yung mga at the start, yung mga 14 days quarantine pa tayo before 2020. So we didn't take it out as an unpaid leave for them. And yet the government is already, di ba, may circular na si DOLE, joint DTI and DOLE, that they're extending that pandemic leave, di ba? So they're acting on it. And also for on terms naman of regularization employees, para naman hindi detrimental to the employers, DOLE also issued na you cannot also count the days no na pandemic, talagang lockdown tayo, hindi kasama doon sa counting. So I believe that the government is listening din naman to all of us. So it's a good balance talaga na binabalance lang how they manage it.
Okay, Ms. Sherry, you want to add more?
Yeah, it's basically the same. No? It's financial assistance, yung leave credit. I'm happy with SSS, yung sickness benefit nila, covered na yung COVID. And also, yung PhilHealth, we really have to invest in our health structure. Lalo na ngayon, no, during the Omicron variant, biglang nag-surge. Marami akong kakilala, hindi na nagpa-test eh. So the government should do something about that RT-PCR testing kasi it's also detrimental to the community. Kasi baka feeling ng iba, okay lang to. So dapat doon very strict yung government na sa bawat community, they really help sa barangay level they really help the households in dealing with this virus. Yung iba kasi nahihiya rin eh. Siguro it's more of educating the populace. Minsan pag nalaman yung kapitbahay mo may COVID, parang imbis na magtulungan, iiwasan pa. So educating the populace mas maganda, although the government is doing everything about educating us, yung vaccination, pero namang financial assistance, siguro lang to, yung talagang sino ba talaga yung dapat tulungan. Kasi minsan sa barangay level, kung sino kakilala mo sa barangay, pero yung sino talaga yung may kailangan sa barangay, yun yung napapabayaan. So sana the LGU would look into that matter. Pero dun sa workforce naman, I think the government is doing everything. For NCR, siguro help with the transportation. Very congested kasi yung NCR. And then another thing is opening up businesses. It's really based din sa sharing kaninang umaga, no? It's really how we balance to keep the economy running. Kasi kung hindi, pare-pareho tayong mahihirapan. We are fortunate here sa microinsurance and microfinance industry. Pataas yung demand sa atin. Pero for the other industries, affected talaga sila, and ang members or ang family members ng ating mga empleyado, apektado rin. So we really have to help each other, the business sector and the government.
Okay, so it's almost time's up, but just to close this session, probably quick response from you. You did a lot of great work based on the presentation and discussion that we have. How do you think will that impact your growth for 2022? Lahat ng binigay ninyo sa employees ninyo, lahat ng magaganda na programs that you have, how do you think will it impact babalik sa organizations ninyo? So just quick, before we end our session, who wants to start? Donna, you want to start out?
Yeah, sure. Yes. I believe it will really impact positively. So, despite of the challenges, no, ika nga, even sa TSPI and ASKI are really God-centered, God-focused. We do not discount that na parang everything is really, of course, God is sovereign, in control. But when we do what's best, at our best, no, how we can manage all of these things na beyond us talaga. And I think we can do that if we are focused on our goals as well, but more so being more humane. Yun, yung sinabi ko na empathetic and compassionate leadership. Kasi we still don't know when this will end, but we are looking at it. There's nowhere to go but really onwards. So that's for us.
Thank you so much, Donna. Joy?
Okay, sige. Of course, ang goal naman lahat ng institution companies is to ensure na positively ay marirebuild. In fact, in ASKI, in the whole ASKI, meron kaming yearly theme. At ang theme namin for this year, as early as middle of December, inayos ang aming transformation team. We have the Ready, Set, Build. Our goal is to have a favorable impact for the whole institution. Hindi man bigla, may mga na-reset na target, but of course, yun ang palaging very certain na gusto namin mangyari. And then the upskilling ng current employees that we have, yun yung talagang pinagsusumikapan ng bawat units namin to ensure na they could really adapt to the changes brought about by the pandemic. Diba? There is a research survey na reskilling is 20% from the McKinsey research. They are saying that reskilling is 20% effective according to the study than hiring new ones. So kung ano yung mayroon kami, so upskilling, reskilling, upskilling ng current jobs nila and reskilling of our employees. And to ensure na the ASKI as an organization, we must continue to think, plan, and operate and ensure that the roles of our employees will stay relevant in these very challenging times.
Thank you, Joy. Ms. Sherry?
For TSPI naman, this pandemic showed our employees how we really treat them and they really appreciated it. Meron silang mga advance pay. Natanggap nila yung 13th month pay nila in full. Even though we lost 5 staff to COVID, we had service for them together with their families. So, yung iba nabawasan ng sweldo sa TSPI intact pa rin. So, all these things fully appreciated ng mga employees namin. And we believe na how we treat our employees, how we treat our members would still go back sa institution. Ang lagi namin sinasabi, we do this everything for God's glory. So, yun po, Ms. Jackie. Maraming salamat.
Thank you. Amazing insights from our panelists. It has been a very productive session. Thank you, dearest panelists. I am so sorry, due to time constraint, we cannot answer all the questions. There are still some questions coming in from our audience, but due to time constraint, we can no longer accommodate them. We has now come to the end of our session, but I am confident that all of you, our attendees, are ready to face the challenges of attracting, engaging, and retaining your talents. And we learned today different strategies on how to do that with the help of our esteemed panelists. Once again, I am Jackelyn, your moderator for today's session. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Jackie, Miss Donna, Miss Sherry Lou, and Miss Joy. So, napaka-engaging talaga and excellent ng ating discussion. And I think we really had a very useful na mga tips and insights from our panelists. So, at this point po, please remain your camera on for our quick picture taking. And may we also invite rin po si Ma'am Fe to join us. Okay, so nandito po si Ma'am Fe Mendona. So i-add lang po natin sa spotlight. Okay, so ready na po tayo for our photo op. So smile po tayo. 1, 2, 3. And isa pa po. 1, 2, 3. Yan. Thank you so much po again, our dear panelists. So at this point, to end our virtual National Microinsurance Forum, I would like to call on the General Manager of Care MBA in the Quezon Province and the Vice President of MIMAP to give her closing message. So everyone, let us all give a warm round of applause to Ma'am Pelahia Mendones.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Miss Aleli, and thank you for the fruitful panel, the last panel. Napakaganda talaga ng kanilang mga insights. To close our National Microinsurance Forum, let me do the closing remarks. To our STEM resource person and panelists, our guests from the Insurance Commission, our government and private partners, our friends from the insurance industry nationwide from our Global Mutual Co-op Insurance Federation at AOA and ICNIP, to the board management staff of our MBAs, microfinance institutions, cooperatives, to my fellow MIMAP Board of Trustees, and to our more than 500 participants here in Zoom and FB Live, good afternoon. On behalf of the association's Microinsurance MBA, I thank you all for joining us in our second conduct of virtual National Microinsurance Forum. The theme of our forum this year is Facing Uncertainty Through the Strategic Innovation. Toward the end of the 2021, the daily reported cases of COVID-19 in the country started to drop with less than 1,000 cases per day. We somehow thought that we are already winning against this virus. But then, Omicron variant happened. This early January, local cases of Omicron variant was detected to the Philippines. Since then, the reported COVID cases reached about 32,000 per day on the average. On top of this, we can never forget the wrath of the Typhoon Odette in many regions in our country last December. Truly, we never know what else can happen. What else could our industry and our micro-entrepreneurs will face given the continuing threats of the pandemic and the natural disasters? We designed this year's version of the National Microinsurance Forum, hoping that our industry, especially the microinsurance sector, could somehow get insight on how they strategically face the challenges and uncertainties, specifically climate risks, evolving consumer behavior and preferences, continuing economic challenges, attracting and retraining the right talent. Napakaganda ng ating mga discussions simula kahapon hanggang ngayon. So, please allow me to share my takeaways. The Insurance Commission believes that the insurance industry will remain resilient and responsive to each client and stakeholders this 2022. To achieve this, we are all urged to continue our efforts to sustain our progress and to uphold the integrity of the industry by improving overall claims experience of our client, strengthening data privacy deficiencies, given the rise in digitalization and emergence of mobile insurance, and of course, complying the implementation of IFRS 17 and gross premium valuation for mutual benefit association. The Department of Finance sees that the economic prospect of 2022 remain promising with approval of the 2022 National Budget and the extension of 2021 General Appropriation Act. However, it is important that we strictly do our part in the economic recovery by getting vaccinated, availing booster shots, and following minimum public health standard to help the economy bounce back. This was reinforced in the discussion earlier by PA Joey Concepcion, Dr. Aris, Dr. Moniedra, where they are highlighted that we are to learn to live with COVID. as this will help revive our economy and most especially bring life back to MSMEs. We are inspired to hear the program to help our micro entrepreneurs bounce back. To share a few, we have the 3 M's: the mentorship, the money, the market, plus another M's pa. Meron pang M's. More vaccination and booster, mobile wallet, mindset, and mobility. The trends we can expect as shared by the BPI AMTs includes vaccination herd immunity. By first half of 2022, booster follow through. Banking sectors in good condition, healthy OFW, remittances, and the rise of consumers' confidence. In terms of the support naman ng ating mga employees, very inspiring din ang sharing ng ating mga resource person. This afternoon, COVID-19 has really impacted not only our work arrangement, but also our workforce. We face physical and mental stress because of this pandemic. The strategies and programs that our panelists shared are helpful for us to make our work environment conducive to the personal and professional growth of our employees despite of the pandemic. From our discussion naman yesterday, we saw that we need for the insurance is always present. And because of this pandemic, this need for insurance intensified, which led us to face old and the new challenges. In terms of consumer preference, specifically in product design and services delivery channel, moving forward, we believe that is our digital age, human touch is still necessary. There shall be a combination of high-tech and of course, touch. Lastly, all of us, but most especially to the poor, are at risk of climate change and stressors. There are existing programs to help the poor and developing communities in case of calamities, but we need to foster the culture of prevention, focus on risk management. Climate risk insurance shall incentivize climate adaptations and disaster risk reduction. Sustainable and credible delivery channels shall also be secured to enhance uptake of insurance and reinforce trust in insurance. Once again, thank you to everyone for staying until this time of the forum. Maraming salamat sa ating mga key partners and supporters, lalo na sa 1CISP, BPI AMTC, the CARD MBA, CPMI, Globe Business, NATRE, PhilCare, RMSI, at of course ating mga microinsurance MBA. We would like to thank as well as the MIMAP Secretariat for putting together the second virtual version of the National Microinsurance Forum. We have to have everyone again next year for another version of this forum. Maraming salamat muli at mabuhay ang mga tagapagtaguyod ng microinsurance. Again, good afternoon. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Maraming salamat po sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Fe, for that wonderful message. And I guess this sums up our forum. So muli, on behalf of Mima Primansi, we would like to thank our sponsors, 1CISP, BPI AMTC, CARD MBA, CPMI, Globe Business, NATRI, PhilCare, RMSI, and our microinsurance MBAs. We would also like to recognize the unwavering support of the Insurance Commission and, of course, our resource persons for imparting us the knowledge and our precious participants for attending our second version of the National Microinsurance Forum. Thank you, everyone, and again, happy Microinsurance Month.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
po. Keep safe.
Thank you. Thank you.